I have a motion that the closed meeting be closed and the board certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting to which this certification applies, and only such business matters as were identified in the motion concerning the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered. Have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Shuttleworth, would you certify, please? Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
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 Thank you, ma'am. I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening. If everyone please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence. Apologize for running a little bit behind, so we're going to move right along with our recognitions. Dr. Hackney, please, if you would.
Good evening. I have a number of recognitions tonight. The first we're going to do involve each of you. As you all know, the Virginia School Board Association hosts an academy, and annually that academy recognizes individual board members and superintendents who are willing to further their education in boardmanship skills and curriculum issues through attendance at a number of VSBA-sponsored staff development opportunities. All of you and our superintendent have earned recognitions. As I think you all know, the VSBA has 5 levels of award, and tonight we have 6 of you who have earned the achievement level, which is the 2nd level, and you are receiving a certificate and a bronze pin. We have 1 of you who has met the criteria based on points of attendance for the award of excellence, and that individual is going to receive a certificate and a silver pin. We have 1 of you who have earned the honor, the distinction of honor. That is a certificate and a gold pin, and 1 board member and our superintendent have earned the highest distinction, and that is a certificate and a starfish pin. And Ms. Shuttleworth had shared with me that the theme this year is the story of the starfish, and the VSBA has put a little bit different spin on the story that I know most of us have heard, and certainly as educators have understood the relevance to our work. So if you'll give me an opportunity, I'm just going to share the VSBA's theme this year, the starfish, it matters to this one. As I walked along the seashore, this young boy greeted me. He was tossing stranded starfish back to the deep blue sea. I said, "Tell me why you bother, why you waste your time this way. There's a million stranded starfish. Does it matter anyway?" And he said, "It matters to this one. It deserves a chance to grow. It matters to this one. I can't save them all, I know. But it matters to this one. I'll return it to the sea. It matters to this one, and it matters to me." I walked into the classroom. The teacher greeted me. She was helping Johnny study. He was struggling, I could see. I said, "Tell me why you bother. Why waste your time this way? Johnny's only one of millions. Does it matter anyway?" And she said, "It matters to this one. He deserves a chance to grow. It matters to this one. I can't save them all, I know. But it matters to this one. I'll help him be all that he can be. It matters to this one, and it matters to me." So thank you, members of the board and Dr. Thornton, for all you do for our children and for our community, and for your willingness to participate in these wonderful development opportunities that are offered by your school board association. Receiving awards of achievement are Mr. Dale Sturdithan, who I know is not here tonight, Ms. Sandra Tanner.
Yes, ma'am.
These are CTE teachers representing Parkview and Bluestone High Schools. I have the honor tonight of recognizing these teachers who have been honored by the Virginia Association for Career and Technical Education Administrators and the Microsoft Academy, who have honored both of our schools as part of the top 10 schools in Virginia with the most IT Academy credentials earned by their students. So if you'll join me in honoring the teachers who made this happen. From Bluestone High School, we have Ms. Amanda Bowen. And from Parkview High School, we have Crystal Elmore and Louise Perrier. As you all know, with our work to ensure that our students are adequately prepared for 21st century in the world of work, these industry certifications and credentials are so important. So we're very appreciative of our teachers for making this happen and for putting our schools on the top 10 list in Virginia. So thank you all very much. Members of the board, we have a student recognition added this evening. A student from Bluestone High School. Her name is Macy Mills. Macy, where are you? Want to come on up? Macy is currently enrolled in our associate's degree program through Southside Virginia Community College. She has never missed a day from school since she enrolled in kindergarten. I have to shake your hand for that. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. And that's not even why we're honoring her. That's another honor. She has never missed a day from school, as I said, since she was enrolled in kindergarten. She is a member of the Mecklenburg Junior Women's Association, and she volunteers her time as at a museum at the McCallum Moore Gardens Foundation, where she's also a member. Did I say that correctly? Okay. Macy's also a member of the DECA Club, FBLA, FFA, the Monogram Club, the Beta Club, and the Bluestone High School Relay for Life team. Wow. Additionally, she is a member, and this is why we're honoring her tonight, of the Bluestone High golf team, and she has excelled in golf at Bluestone and outside of school. This year, Macy was named to the James River All-District team and made the Conference 34 team. That's wonderful. The team won the Virginia High School League Conference 34 championship and earned a right to play in regionals held, how do you say that? Kiskiak, just like it's written. Kiskiak Golf Club, located in Williamsburg, Virginia, where she placed 16th out of 72 golfers. That's tremendous. Macy also holds the 2012 and 2013 Southside Sectional VSGA Girls Championship title. Wow. One of her highlights while playing golf has been meeting Tiger Woods in Bay Hill, Florida. Macy hopes to be recruited for a college golf team. Bluestone High School is very proud to have her as a member of our student body, and we recognize her tonight. Congratulations. Very, very proud of you. We'll go over there for a picture. Mr. Chair, you ready for the seniors of the month? Okay. Tonight, members of the board, we have two deserving seniors, one from Parkview High School and another from Bluestone High School. I'm going to start with the senior of the month from Parkview High School, Joshua Ryan Mariner. Josh, you want to come up here? Okay. We're proud to announce Joshua as the senior of the month representing Parkview High School. Josh is the son of Karen and David Mariner, and his family resides in South Hill. His family attends Lombardy Grove Baptist Church, where he serves as an usher. Are you posing? Yes, you are. Joshua also participates in the youth ministry at First Baptist Church. He is heavily involved in athletics, clubs, and activities. He competes on the Dragon football, track and field, and soccer teams. He plays the tuba in both the marching and symphonic bands. He's involved in Beta Club, Youth of Virginia Speak Out. Joshua works part-time at the Sonic, and despite his busy schedule, he maintains an excellent academic record. Last month, he received his Letterman's jacket in recognition of academic excellence, and I'm proud to say I got to see that. Joshua described himself in response to this award as surprised and hyper. In fact, the first thing he said after finding out was, "Can I call my mom?" I think that's wonderful. And he did. Joshua said he is both happy and very grateful for this honor. One of his teachers, Miss Kristen Paris, his English teacher, described him as an honorable and kind young man. Mr. Chris McDilda, band director, said that he is very down to earth and takes great pride in all the activities in which he participates.
I was surprised to hear that.
Joshua's dream is to be drafted into the National Football League. His future plans are to attend Virginia Tech or VCU to pursue a bachelor and master's degree in computer and electrical engineering. He would like to work for a technology company like Microsoft or Google. We are very, very proud to present this.
Want you to play?
Yes, sir. The senior of the month to Joshua Mariner. Congratulations. Yes, sir. Very proud of you. Can you go over here for a picture? It is my pleasure, members of the board, to introduce Mr. C.J. Richardson as the November Senior of the Month representing Bluestone High School. The faculty, staff, and administration at Bluestone are very pleased to announce that Mr. C.J. Richardson is the November Senior of the Month. C.J. currently has a grade point average of 3.45 and strives to be the best in all of his classes. He is currently a member of the Bluestone varsity football team and is the drum captain for the Bluestone Marching Band. Mr. Allgood, CJ's band director, stated, and I quote, "CJ is a hardworking and dedicated student. He manages to find time for his classwork, band, and sports and excels at all three. He is very motivated and a very well-mannered and polite young man. He is a natural leader who is well respected by his peers and his teachers alike. CJ is a pleasure to work with." Mrs. Beck, CJ's British literature teacher, said, "CJ is a well-rounded student and, again, a very polite young man. He works hard and he's very dedicated to his education. In his spare time, he enjoys playing sports, listening to music, and playing music. He plays 5 musical instruments." How cool is that? His favorite subject is English, and his favorite teacher is Ms. Tara Beck. After graduation, CJ plans to attend Old Dominion University. He plans on majoring in physical therapy and plans to walk on to their football team. When asked about the most influential person in his life, he stated, "My dad, because my dad trains me a lot in the off-season for sports, and we have shared many, many memorable moments." CJ is the son of Ann and Carnell Richardson and resides in Boydton, Virginia. We are pleased and honored to have CJ serve as our November Senior of the Month. And I know his mama, who used to teach for me, and she is one proud lady right now. So congratulations. Congratulations. Go ahead and take a picture.
Thank you, Dr. Hackney. We're going to take a 5-minute break here for everyone who just got recognized. Meet and greet real quick. I guess you. Sorry, help yourself. We're going to move on to item number 8 on our agenda, Superintendent's Report and Information Items. We're going, Dr. Hackney, you again, please, ma'am. You're not gonna get tested on us, are we? You kind of scared me for a minute there.
Members of the board, we had a recent staff development day, Tuesday, November 5th, and we were absolutely tremendously blessed to have Ron Berger, the author of the book that we just shared with you, An Ethic of Excellence, to not only do a keynote for all of our instructional staff, but stay the whole afternoon free of charge to facilitate a Q&A session with all of our administrators and each building leadership team of every school. Ron is a veteran teacher. He's been a teacher over 25, almost 30 years. And he is sort of the pioneer, if you will, for expeditionary learning, which is just another name for PBL or Teaching for Deeper Learning. His focus has been on developing a school-wide culture with a passion for quality and excellence, both in students and teachers. He writes about what education can and should look like, and he has been instrumental in leading a vision of educational reform in our country. He's become a very sought-out speaker, and his book, if implemented, is a wonderful how-to manual to describe exactly what we need our classrooms and our learning environments to be like. All of our staff, instructional staff, have read this book, and from the feedback that we have already gotten, he was very, very well received by all of the individuals who I think were privileged to have seen him. I want to share one little example with you, and then we have asked representatives of each of our faculties in all of our schools to come and just share with you from the teacher perspective how meaningful both of these opportunities are. We're going to start with Ron Berger. We have a little video clip that we're going to share with you, but before, actually, let's show the video clip and then I'll show you something after that. So if we can do the video clip first, just on Ron Berger.
You know, my plumber is my former student, and my nurse is my former student. And the guy who plows my driveway is my former student. And the volunteer firemen who helped my wife when she was injured are my former students. So this obsession I have with quality is something that's actually quite selfish. Because if the students my plumber is my former student, and my nurse is my former student. And the guy who plows my driveway is my former
This was not planned, but we have, and actually a couple of the teachers are in the audience tonight. We have a couple of teachers, Miss George and Miss Chumney. Can you come up here? They're not expecting this, and they didn't even know this was going to happen.
I know that college is not necessarily the right answer for everyone. But I do think that most kids have got many times on the different their lives.
We shared this book with all of our leadership team members at the Ann O'Toole training, which we're going to tell you about in just a minute. Well, Mr. Gregory, Berlin Gregory, has taken their book that they put together and actually had it published, and they haven't even seen this yet. But we are actually, you can look at it for just a second, and then I want to. We are so proud of this, and it just Berlin just happened to pick it up today, and I said, oh my goodness, can we share this with the board? But it is a group of how many students? 21 students, and we're going to pass it around. This is one of, and there are others throughout the county, but this is one of our first articles of beautiful work, a fully published book by a number of students in their classes. So we thank you and honor you for your hard work, and we'll just pass this around, and you guys can sit down for just a minute, and then we'll bring you back up. Give him a hand. Are we possibly ready? We're going to try this again. Thank you for your patience.
You know,
Could I have the teachers that volunteered to speak about Ron Berger come forward? We have, in some cases, 2 or 3, but at least one person from every school that just wanted to take just a minute to share.
you know,
with
my
you.
plumber is my former student, and my nurse is my former student. And the guy.
Anybody want to go first? All right.
Good evening. Thank you for having us tonight as well. I want to speak from my heart. I've written down because I don't want to read right off the paper. I just cannot tell you how much of an inspiration he was to us. We know that we're going in the right path. We know that our children need deeper learning. We know that they need a classroom that is full of inquiry and not being taught to. We see that that's not what our children need, but to know that there's someone who can come and tell us that he's done it and he sees the successes that he's had with it, and he's watched these children through inquiry, through questioning, through making mistakes, through working together as team members, through being taught how to be good citizens and being ethical in the way that they treat one another, just really solidified that what we're doing, what our administration is asking of us, is the right path. Just a few points that I have that after I came back and reflected with our 4th grade teachers, some of the things that we noticed is that our students deserve that opportunity to have that type of learning environment, and I think we're on the way there. They need to learn by questioning and making mistakes, but they also need to take pride in their outcome, and they're not going to have that pride if we do it all for them. They need to take that ownership. They need to have ownership in their successes, but also their defeats. And that's where that drafting and redrafting that he kept coming to and speaking of, that they've got to be able to get better and better and see that one product is just not enough, and that they need to take so much ownership in drafting and redrafting so that the product that they finally present is perfect in their eyes, and they've learned so much from it. The most important point that I took away from Ron Berger is the need to build a positive school culture. And I think all of us can agree that that's what we want, but sometimes we're not quite sure how to do it. One of the stories in the book was about a boy named Jason, and he came to this school with a really bad attitude. And what I found interesting in the book is he expressed how he came in and he had this chip on his shoulder. The students would not stand for it. It wasn't the teacher that tried to change his attitude, it was the students, because they had created this culture in their school that they just weren't going to put up with a student or a fellow in their room to pull them down. And so they've created this environment that it was cool and it was great to be in an environment where learning was the great thing, not a bully getting all the attention and that type of thing. So a lot of the book feeds to that we have to teach our children how to be respectful citizens and work together, and they will learn in the process. I know one of the things that I asked, one of the questions that I asked was, how do we still stick to the standards and those type of things, because we're under such pressure to fulfill all of these needs. But what I have realized that if we do teach through inquiry, that's going to come. It's going to come. In our environment today, we need to teach our children how to be respectful, and we need to teach them how to work together and to be kind to one another, and the learning process can come right along with that as well. So I appreciate the fact that you all brought Ron Berger to our school system, and we learned so much, and he has really encouraged us to create a more positive environment, but it must start with the teachers and the workers in the school, not just teachers. I can't say just teachers. It must start with us. Thank you.
Good evening. I think we're all going to say very similar things, so I'm going to be very quick. I was really excited to hear Ron Berger speak because I just love this book. I read it a couple of summers ago before we started our pilot program, and I've since read it multiple times. I've highlighted. I've written in the margins. I've even summarized some of the chapters. So it's been like my little Bible, my Bible of what project-based learning can be. And in the book, he completely describes project-based learning without ever using that term, project-based learning. And I just feel like as a county, we need to stop getting so caught up in the vocabulary. It's just about teaching, and it's about good teaching. I have a whole list of things I could say. We're all saying the same things. He stresses multiple drafts, critiques. That's a big thing I'm trying to do in my classroom last year and this year. It's about good quality work, and especially meaningful work. And there was one thing he did say that grabbed me. It said, it's about focusing on creating meaningful work that's good in quality, good for the soul, and good for the world. And if kids are creating that kind of work and we're designing that kind of curriculum, then we're doing a good thing.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. I am going to speak from the heart. Several things about the book spoke to me, but it's nice to know that your instincts as a teacher and things that you've tried to do for your kids, that it's actually encompassed in a book and you're able to talk to the author. Quite a few things spoke to me, and as we've already said, you're going to hear different variations of basically the same thing. But one of the things that really stood out for me was in his book he says that a lot of times if you ask somebody, what do you teach? I teach English, I teach math, I teach ROTC. Really the answer is I teach kids. And we should be concerned about the kids no matter what the subject is, you know, and accept that all of them can go to college. The other part that I really like, of course, in my job, we stress community service and building better citizens. So I like that part. You know, if we can get to the point where we can judge our kids on the quality of their work and the quality of their character, we're on that path. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm a new teacher to Mecklenburg County, and one of the big draws for me was project-based learning. That's what my undergrad really focused on, and so to see a district doing that, I was really excited to come in here and do Odyssey training and delve into Ron Berger's book, Ethic of Excellence. I immediately noticed that we are still changing our culture, so to have these professional developments with Ron Berger and with Ann O'Toole was great, and to see people's responses to that was really incredible. Their big points were that we really need the whole community behind us, not just the teachers, not just the students, but we need experts coming in from the community and allowing our students to go out and work with them as well. But most importantly, I'm a 6th grade special education teacher, and they had a huge emphasis on that all students can do and have beautiful work. And that was just incredible to me that it took them saying it for some people to realize that all students can create beautiful work, and I believe you've seen an example of it tonight. Some very beautiful work from all of our students. Oftentimes, we don't let our students know what they're capable of without giving them these deeper learning opportunities. Students don't realize what they're capable of unless we put them in a position where they're challenged to step up to that point. And Ron Berger and Ann O'Toole have really emphasized to us that by creating these projects and situations for them to really challenge themselves, students can find out what they are capable of. And we just had Expo Night for 6th graders at Parkview Middle School, and the 6th graders were so impressed and surprised by what they were capable of. It was really incredible to see them proud of their work and taking ownership of it. So I think after the professional development opportunities that you provided for us, we have the chance to be empowered teachers and to empower our students with this project-based learning, and that's been a great experience.
Good evening. I had the pleasure of attending both the Ron Berger and the Ann O'Toole professional developments, and I believe that both of those were very inspiring. I think that as teachers, we were able to take away strategies that we can all use in our classrooms. One of the ideas that really stayed with me from Mr. Berger's presentation was the realization that oftentimes as teachers, we give students work and we hand back the work and then they throw it away. And Mr. Berger really worked to have students create work that they are proud of and that they want to keep and they want to share and they want to show. And he actually told a story that a class kept a book for years, and then they ended up showing the President of the United States when he came to their school. And I think that we need to provide those opportunities for our students here in Mecklenburg County. I think that we can use the community, Mr. Berger used the community, that we have huge community resources available. And so I think that, using the community and having deeper learning, we can really have our students create that beautiful work that Mr. Berger talked about. Thank you.
Good evening. The meetings with Ron Berger and Ann O'Toole really helped Melissa, Candy, and myself. We all talked about it together. See the importance of the transformations taking place within our school. Mr. Berger's explanations and examples of beautiful work really helped clarify the true meaning of beautiful work, and that the definition of beautiful work can be different for each child. This beautiful work fosters the students to be persistent, take ownership, and display pride in their final product and presentations. The meeting with Ann O'Toole began the building of our school leadership team, which we all got to take part in. This team composed of teachers, administrators, and support staff will focus on school needs and building a school culture among teachers and students, which some of the other teachers talked about. It will also help foster relationships between students, teachers, and administrators within each school. These 2 days of professional development were time well spent to help us see the relationships between beautiful work, deeper learning, and shared leadership. Through these strategies, the teachers and students take an active role within the school to foster a community of learners within the classroom and within our building. Through these pictures, we hope that you can see the transformations that are already taking place within our school.
So I guess I'll just echo a lot of the sentiments. I think, first of all, I'm a realist. I'm not much of a dreamer. So I think sometimes when you hear about these things, it's hard to think of how that'll actually look in the classroom. And I think Mr. Berger's book and also listening to him speak really helped me to see how we can do high-quality student work but still meet our standards set forth by the state, how we can keep up with the curriculum, how we can keep kids on track but still have the opportunity for these deeper learning projects and things like that. I think second of all, I talked to my mom is also a teacher, about the professional development afterwards, and she was actually able to remember from elementary school 2 projects that she had done, one about anti-smoking and one about World War II veterans. And she could tell me how she collected data, how she interviewed people. She actually described to me where in the school the work was presented. And when I thought, I have an awful memory, but when I thought back, I could remember 2 things from school too. One in 2nd grade, just writing books that I was very proud of in the 2nd grade, and then also in the 12th grade we made a trebuchet that launched pumpkins in a physics class. And I think that both of those for me, and then also just my mom talking about her own elementary school experiences, was like a very personal connection to how much these examples of high quality work matter and how much they stick with kids. And I think I'm able to see how in the classroom we need to be doing that. We need to make the learning memorable for students while still hitting the things that they need to learn and helping them master the skills that they need. So it was good for me as a sort of a realist to understand how it would look and how it would work.
Okay. Ron Berger and Ann O'Toole provided 2 powerful days of staff development. It was amazing their energy, their passion, and their belief that all children can craft beautiful work. Berger challenged educators to desire a classroom full of future craftsmen, students that have developed integrity, knowledge, dedication to their work, and a sense of pride with the final product. Berger has pioneered his own craft to teaching through expeditionary learning. Expeditionary learning is not a curriculum. It is an approach to teaching and learning that seeks to improve school culture by making the curriculum more active, thus motivating students to go deeper and work harder than they ever thought that they could. This process starts by researching a community-related topic or issue. Teachers provide the framework of the experience. Students then conduct the field work, collect the data, collaborate, research from beginning to end, and then work to generate through multiple drafts and revisions their best product. An example he shared that I thought was really amazing was that his children in his school were concerned about all the homeless people on their way to school. So rather than just keep walking down the sidewalk every day, they started a research project where they wanted to find out, why are these people homeless? Why did they end up here? So they did interviews, they started connecting with them, and then of course created a final product about the homeless. And they found their biggest thing was that when they're socially isolated, they still wanted to be treated with humanity. And that way they were able to connect to something they were faced with every day but they did not know about. Berger challenged me to consider, how can I do this with my students? And currently I'm working with kindergarten students to coordinate a project that will hopefully involve community resources, collaboration, research, and incorporate the SOLs and generate a final product that those students would share with an expo or a time where they do the talking, they do the sharing, not the teacher come in and say, this is what my child or my children have done. I was also blessed to be able to hear Ann O'Toole. She was an amazing speaker and presenter. She provided us with the framework and past experiences and task samples to build a leadership team that will guide the improvement and instruction in our schools. She challenged our teams to narrow our focus to just one area of improvement within our schools. She had us actively engaged in matching quotes with 80 people in here, which was a fun task. We brainstormed the challenges that we all feel we're facing within our buildings, and then we started considering the next best steps to address those challenges to improve instruction and student outcomes. I look forward to helping build a school culture that will encourage and promote expeditionary learning to our students, thus empowering teachers to build classrooms of students willing to serve our community and who are equipped with the 21st century skills that are going to be necessary to enter college or the workforce. And that was one of Berger's guiding questions. His expectation in his school is that all his students will have what's necessary to apply to get into college, have everything they need, all their credentials. Whether they choose to go or not, it's their choice, but he wants them to leave knowing that they are able and ready to do that. As with any new venture, we teachers will need tremendous support and time to effectively implement the expectations. Ann O'Toole, shared with us and believes in a quote a day during her morning meetings. And Socrates reminds us the secret of change is to focus all our energy not on fighting the old, but on the building of the new. Thank you.
Members of the board, thank you for your patience. We think we've got the technical kinks worked out, but I want to give you a little bit of foundation, and we're going to switch gears here a little bit. You've heard a number of references to Ann O'Toole. We were going to split that up, but we're going to kind of rethink that and do it all together. Ann O'Toole, it was just complete coincidence. She is the former principal of Robius Middle School, the first expeditionary or deeper learning school in the state of Virginia several years ago. She, as I said, expeditionary learning is synonymous with PBL, active learning, just another term used to describe rigorous teaching, active learning, real-world problem-based instruction, public audiences of critique, as you've heard from several of these teachers, presentation and exhibition, and lots of group work and collaboration. Basically, what we've been talking about for months, instruction aligned with the needed 21st century skills that all of our students are going to need. Ann has been hired, as I said, she's a retired principal in Chesterfield County. She has been hired by the Department of Ed and by both the former Secretary of Education in Virginia and now the current Secretary who has been promoted. He was the Deputy Secretary, Javed Siddiqui, to support school improvement efforts throughout the state. We were extremely privileged, as so many of the teachers have indicated, to have her come and facilitate a one-day training just 2 days after Ron Berger, and so much of her stuff is based on Ron Berger. To work with us, as they said, to establish building-level leadership teams of up to 10 people in some cases, to focus on school-wide improvement in each of our schools. We did have most of our schools sent one representative to talk about their perspectives of both Ron Berger and Ann O'Toole. I just want to make sure everybody has had an opportunity to speak. Were there any that were here to just speak about Ann O'Toole? Okay, just a couple more we want to share with you, and then we're going to show you the video clips of each, and we're going to go straight through, okay?
My experience with Mrs. O'Toole predates our staff development on November 7th. I first met her back in April at a RTI conference in Richmond. Her presentation then was on using a balanced literacy approach to jumpstart student achievement. During her training, she offered tips for implementing a balanced literacy initiative, and the first tip she gave was to make your goal crystal clear to all stakeholders. Her presentation was set up to mimic the way she would instruct if she were in the classroom. She stated clearly her goals for the day and the strategies we would take to get there. She offered 4 instructional strategies that can be used at all instructional levels and gave us ample, guided, and independent practice time in using the strategies to attack the content for the day. She ended each section of her presentation with time for reflection and group sharing. This sequence for teaching is how effective lessons are taught. She did not stand before us and tell us. She modeled, provided guided and independent practice, and frequent time for reflection to cement our learning. This was truly an authentic learning experience. Too often we have staff development opportunities and we walk away excited and rejuvenated, only to get back in the trenches and lose sight of most of what we learned that day. Not this time. As always, we came back to school and shared the new information with our staff, but we didn't stop there. At her suggestion, we offered several book studies to provide teachers with impetus for change. Several teachers participated in the book studies and gave very positive feedback and made changes in their instructional practices as a result of their new learning. We made changes to our school book room and had more people involved with the implementation of that. Administrators worked diligently to create a daily instructional schedule that would support student success, and we continue to look at the schedule to make improvements for next year. Our training in November focused more on building a culture of shared leadership to improve instruction, and her methodology was the same. She presented using the best instructional practices. The 2 most important ideas from this training were, first, when we plan for school improvement, we must plan with our ultimate goal in mind and work backwards. Second, we must remember that change takes time. We must determine our ultimate one goal and then devise everything we do around what it will take to reach that goal. Plan all our staff development, all our instructional observations, our staff meetings, data disaggregation efforts, and community outreach around that one goal. During reflection and sharing, we found that most of us school people have trouble focusing on that one specific goal. As educators, we want to fix everything. Our school leadership team walked away with a concrete guide to help us in our school improvement efforts. We had time to reflect on what we were doing well and areas that would require more attention. The most beneficial aspects of Mrs. O'Toole's trainings are that she offers guided questions to focus your thinking. She offers strategies to get you to new learning with guided and independent practice, and then offers time for reflection and sharing. I thank you for providing the opportunity to learn from her experience.
Looks like I'm the last one to wrap us up, and you know, many of the things that everybody has already said are what I wanted to express about Ann O'Toole. She came in energetic. She was very inspiring. It was obvious that she was speaking on things that she has done for years, things that she believes in. She didn't just stand up here and just say, this is what you need to do, but she modeled it. She had us up. She had us moving around, practicing the things that she was telling us. And therefore, you're actually seeing this is how it could look in my classroom. And she was providing examples that would work for kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade. But one important thing that really stood out to many of us, as we looked at our challenges, where are we going with our school improvement teams, she kept encouraging the teams to narrow their focus. And I know that's something you've already heard, but to pick one specific goal and work towards that goal, whether that was student engagement or whatever that goal was going to be. You need to narrow it down and focus on that one thing. And I just think that's important as we're moving forward with our teachers. And I know one thing that we took from her meeting was she said that her faculty meetings, she didn't just stand up and say, okay, these are the dates that we have these things going on. She said that was for a memo. I had my teachers sharing things that other teachers could use. And so that's something that we're planning to implement with our whole staff and also breaking out into our different content areas. Just recognizing that we can learn from each other. So again, we appreciate our opportunities and thank you very much.
Plumber is my former student, and my nurse is my former student, and the guy who plows my driveway is my former student, and the volunteer firemen who helped my wife when she was injured are my former students. So this obsession I have with quality is something that's actually quite selfish, because if the students that I taught have that ethic of excellence, that sense of quality, my whole life is better. And I think even though we're a much broader country than the tiny little town where I live, I think of that in a broad way. That if our kids, your kids, have that obsession with doing things well, with creating things of quality and being quality human beings, all of our lives and our communities will be better. We believe that every kid should get into college. We have some schools where kids get into college and don't choose to go to college right away because they want to enter the service or they want to enter a job right away. But they will know for the rest of their lives that they are college material. If they're 25 and they decide, I think I want to go to college, I think I got into college when I was 18, I can do it again. I know that college is not necessarily the right answer for every kid and their family at this time, but I do think that once kids have gotten into college, they have a different self-image for the rest of their lives. Your projects should be hitting on the same skills as you need to prepare your kids for those exams. You're not picking project ideas out of the blue that you have to sort of squeeze in around the edge of your teaching around that. If you know that your kids are working on concepts in reading and writing that they need to get better at, you build your projects so that they are immersed in those same skills in the projects, so that they are critiquing and building work that gets them ready for those very same things. So your projects are rich in literacy. They're rich in data analysis. They are rich in the things that you need to get kids ready for. I hope that the main message of this is to empower you to feel like what you already believe about the capacity of kids to do high-quality work, you feel a little bit more empowered to say, I'm going to try to carve out more time for kids to do work that they're proud of and that I'm proud of in my work. Because the work that you do is the most important work in America. I'm not just saying that. I spent most of my life doing that. This is the future of America, the kids that you're teaching. So thank you for your service to this most important profession. And I hope that you will be sending me personally some really cool work in the next few years that you're really proud of that I can share around the country. Thank you.
Expeditionary learning, as Ron may have shared with you, is not a kit or a program. It's really a professional development approach where the focus is on inquiry-based learning, and the adults go through trainings using strategies and protocols that they then can adapt and replicate for students in classrooms. I want it all done yesterday, just like you do. Change takes a while. Just to create a vision for what excellence would look like in project-based learning, just creating that vision would take close to a year, okay? Then implementing it might take another couple of years, okay? And I know you feel like, well, we don't have that time. But if you don't do it methodically, slowly, deliberately, coaching along the way, supporting along the way, correcting along the way, the only people that will be doing it are the people that would have done it in the first place without you anyway. School systems give these benchmark tests. An enormous amount of effort is put into looking at the results. And then, you know what? Same kid, 10 kids that couldn't do it 2 months ago, still can't do it. So we pile on more worksheets and we give them more time, and they don't really have anything all that different from what they had 2 months ago. In a desperate hope that they will make it through this thing in May that they have to deal with. Somewhere along the line, I think we have really lost the power of observation and of looking at assessment in a more holistic way. The kind of thing I talked about with the faculty meeting that's looking at the writing papers, or you could do it with projects. I mean, you could take them. That's what Ron Berger's doing. He's collecting the best around the country, which this is magnificent, ladies. He's collecting the best around the country and using them to define what does excellence look like. That's where our energies need to be spent. And it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to move in that direction. I really believe, having read all of your annual plans, Melody was nice enough to send them to me, that you are ready to move in that direction. It takes courage, but it's the right thing to do. And guess what? Guess what? The scores will rise if you move in that direction.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Dr. Thornton?
Does anyone have any questions on what they saw? Okay. Next is an update to the school board goals and strategic planning process. They're going to pull up our goals. As we move to creating a culture of excellence and a new strategic plan, we wanted to review the goals that the school board set 3 years ago and see where we are. The first one was dual enrollment courses and really the associate's degree, to increase the amount of dual enrollment and increase the number of students taking dual enrollment. As you see, baseline year, it was 176 dual enrollment courses taken in both high schools and 10 students did achieve their associate's degree, and most of them achieved that on their own by pursuing it through SVCC. Now with the strategic plan of having an associate's degree and qualifying for one and going through 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade year, you see now this past year we had 417 dual enrollment courses taken and 53 students graduate with an associate's degree, which is outstanding improvement. On-time graduation was the next area that the school board outlined as an area of improvement. And you see we moved from 85.2 to currently 88% of our graduates with on-time graduation rate. And the state average this year is 89. So we're right there. We're gaining on it. Advanced studies diplomas. This kind of goes with the Ron Berger theme that when we put this in place, we talked about, we say all kids can go to college, and that's not really true if you're not in the curriculum that will get you to college, which is your advanced studies diploma. And so we made a concerted effort to push more students in that. And you see the baseline year, we had 39.2% of our graduates with an advanced studies diploma, and this past year, 55.6%. Now, do we have 55.6 going to college? No, but they had opportunity to make that decision at that point. And what you heard from Ron Berger is we should be striving to 100% that can make that determination. They can decide, but they know they have the skills to do it if they want to do it, is what he's saying, and is what we were saying when you made these goals over 3 years ago. CTE credentials earned, baseline year 193 credentials, and this past year 269. That looks like a great improvement. We feel like we can do a whole lot better, and we still need to work on CTE tremendously. The last one was not one of your goals, but I thought I'd share that information, because when you look at advanced studies diplomas online, you'll also see standard diplomas, you'll see modified standards, special ed diplomas, and you'll see that, and you can add the totals. And the baseline year, standard and advanced were 84%, which means 16% were getting some other degree. And this past year, 93%. Which tells me we're serving our special ed population better as well, which is a good sign. So I thought I'd share that information. You can go to the next one. The reason I wanted to share that is we are talking to teachers. We finished talking to students and collecting information today for a new 5-year strategic plan. And now you heard words tonight, and we're hearing them high expectations, more rigorous expectations. I'm hearing that from parents who want more rigor for their children. I'm hearing that from teachers. Beautiful quality work, what is that? Character, community service. I believe Mr. Bullock brought community service forward in a conversation last week to me. 21st century skills. So all of these things, we need to figure out how they fit in our strategic plan and then how we're going to measure these as we move on in the future. With that said, knowing all that, we also have to talk about, as we're coming into budget season, how does the budget impact that? How does the community support impact that? How will it impact as we move forward? And I thought this was a good visual to show. 2009-10 baseline year was the budget year before these goals were put in place when I came. And it doesn't show the whole total on that screen. But the general fund total, those are all your categories of $43 million. And if you scroll down, you see the total, that's over $50 million if you include federal funds, debt service, and food service. But federal funds are really targeted. So the number to really look at is your, the yellow thing that I highlighted there, your general fund totals, if you scroll back down. So I can see all the categories. There you go. Okay, and you see the baseline year, that was the budget we had before the big budget crisis. 2010, 2011 was the budget that I was given upon arrival here. And you see that year, you're looking at $5 million cut out of the category of instruction. $5 million. You see a cut in administration and health services. You see transportation cut by around $900,000. You see maintenance cut by about $600,000. You see technology cut only by about $300,000. Then over the next couple of years, we haven't got any help. We haven't got any relief except from the Board of Supervisors in instruction one year with a teacher raise. And that was close to $1 million. But that was targeted for the teacher raise, which was needed desperately. But you see what we've done through the years, and now this year's budget, we've moved from that $26.5 million to $29 million in instruction. So we have been able to use money wisely and try to move it in those categories. But that does include the increase of $1 million for that raise. So if you look at the deficit column for instruction of $2.7 million, really the deficit's $3.7 million as far as teaching positions and other positions and supplies and materials that we've had to cut and manage with. So we're still working at a deficit of $3 to $4 million in instruction. It's hard to overcome and sustain over these 3 years. Administration, you see, has come back a little bit. That was 2 positions in the finance office that were needed. Transportation came back a little bit to about $300,000 since the cuts. And actually in that category, what we've added is 2 bus leases that rotate every 2 years. So every 2 years we can insure to buy 10 to 11 buses and maintain our bus fleet. It doesn't account for anything else in transportation. We barely made it, and I know Donna can attest to that, as we were trying to patch the buses together that are older and keep them on the road last year. As we were dwindling and the funds were nearing down, we were like, can we fix this bus? Well, can we put a spare on the road instead? Those are the things we're having to decide with our children every day. And those are some of the things that parents, you need to realize that. We're taking a Band-Aid approach. Maintenance, down $1.2 million. And we have taken a Band-Aid approach, and hopefully as we work with the Board of Supervisors and with this board, we need to get a clear vision. I need a clear vision to share with my people what the clear vision is, because right now it's a Band-Aid approach. We are putting Band-Aids on things and hoping they survive. We need to know if we're not going to get a new school anytime soon, then we need to spend some money and fix what we have. And we're not going to do the Band-Aid approach anymore. But where are those funds going to come from? We need that answer. Technology, you see, is down still $874,000. With that said, though, there's ways to use money wisely. With that said, being down $874,000, we have a 1 to 2 initiative for iPads K through 2. We have a 1 to 2 initiative for laptops, 3, 4, and 5. We have Chromebooks for all 6th and 7th graders and a Bluestone Middle for all 8th graders. That was a grant to get the 8th grade done. But next year will be the entire middle school. We have a plan to start a 1-to-1 laptop initiative at the high school, which is desperately needed to expose our children. And all of this at a deficit of $900,000. That's good, wise use in budgeting and using our resources. And also in our future plan, we want laptops for our teachers on a rotational basis, that they're replenished every 3 to 4 years. So basically, to sum this up, you're still looking at $5.5 million we're working with, less than we had in 2009, 2010. It's kind of the same argument we've done with the state legislators saying, how long can we survive with you making these cuts and not adequately funding the SOQs? And so as we go through this, we're meeting with teachers. We need additional teachers. I'll tell you right now, at Parkview Middle School, desperately because of class size. There's other schools that need it. They desperately need supplies. There's things that are needed that we cannot wait. They're going to be in the budget proposals to you. And this discussion, we just can't go and say, oh, there's no money this year. We have to look at it as a community. Can you go to the next one? and to get a good understanding of what we're facing, this is a VA report of school divisions exceeding local required effort, 2011, 2012. They also have 2012-13. Can you just scroll up? All school divisions exceed the required local effort in Virginia. And we'll put this report online, and you can read it. I can't read the fine print. But it basically says how all schools, if you add up all schools, divisions in the state, we're funding like $3.4 billion over the required effort. That tells you something, $3.4 billion over. We're not adequately funding it at the state level. So who has to make up for it? Localities. We've highlighted our area to see where we rank at funding locally. That means a percentage above the required effort by locality. And you see Amelia, help me, is that 109? Appomattox 121, Brunswick 93, Buckingham 76, what's the next one? Charlotte 133, keep scrolling please. Cumberland, I'll let you read it, I can't see it from here. $129, and that was 2011, 2012. Go ahead to the next year. And we'll put this online as well. But Mecklenburg, 129, and we've dropped to 132 out of 135, counties and cities, how we fund. So that is how we are valuing the education of our children. We're ranked 132. We beat a couple counties. I mean, that, you can't sit here and blame the school board or blame the board of supervisors. If county citizens are aware of this, you're aware of the school buildings your children go to, that doesn't even account, none of this money accounts for building a new school. This is just our operating funds that I just showed you, $5.5 million. I'm not asking for the local board to give us $5.5 million. That's a huge amount of money. But we have to start getting back something. We have to start going in the other direction, and the bleeding has to stop. And because it's affecting our children. And it affects our children through our teachers as well. When they're trying to manage larger class sizes and trying to meet the new standards. It is a stressful task. It's a stressful task on all of us. And 132, we got to look at ourselves. If you're not willing to speak up for your children, then you shouldn't complain about the conditions. We're doing the best we can with the money we have. I think you see, we're moving the money to instruction. We're moving the money to these other things. But then you know what? The heat's not going to work some mornings. And I heard a teacher from one of our schools tell the children, call the superintendent, call the school board and tell them it's freezing in here this morning. No. Don't call us. Call the board of supervisors and go to the meetings and be involved in county government and do what's right for your children. We're not trying to break the heat. We're not trying to say, we don't want to give you all the supplies this year. We don't want to reduce class size. There is a fiscal impact. I wish I had a money tree. But these discussions have to happen. We complain and we go away and we don't take initiative. We want to complain about how long band is, or we want to complain about we started the day an hour later. How about looking at the building you send your children to and looking at how we're funding them? That might be a more important topic to focus on as adults with our children in this community. It's important. Please start looking at this as we go through the budget cycle. You heard loud and clear from teachers tonight, and we're hearing more and more from DOE And we're hearing from professionals like Ron Berger, who's made it happen. They're making it happen in schools. It's time we start funding appropriately and making it happen for our kids here. These don't lie. Rumors are made up, some true and some false. These don't lie. I'm done with that. Unless you have any questions.
Anyone have any questions from the board? All right. Dr. Thornton, I think you got the next category also.
Okay, resolution to support change to the SOLs. This was an item that came through VASS, which is the Virginia Association of School Superintendents. It was a resolution that board members saw and we emailed out, and Mr. Bullock has brought it up again as an item. And it is a resolution not to do away with SOL testing. It is a resolution to change the format of how we assess kids, multiple assessments. So maybe we still have some multiple choice, but maybe we have some other ways to assess kids. It's not doing away with them. And I will tell you, from my standpoint, I do think we need to change the way we're doing the SOLs. Will that fix everything in education? No. Good instruction will change education. And I wanted to share, because Mr. Sturdivant is not here, he did ask me to share, because he saw this was a item you might vote on tonight, that he would like to add his comments to this if you don't want to vote on it tonight and postpone the vote to next month. I'm just sharing that conversation.
I think we need to go ahead and vote on it tonight. We brought this up before, and it seemed like just keep going around. We got over 40 schools in the state that have in support of this. And we need to have some information in before the General Assembly come back into session in January.
Mr. Sturdivant is one of our younger members on the school board, and I think when a school board makes a request that we hold something for 30 days so that he can have input, and we don't need to do it until December anyway, my opinion is we should honor what Mr. Sturdivant's called and asked to do. If it was a push and shove situation, it would be different, but if we can wait till December, I think it would show him some respect.
All right, anybody else have any further questions on this?
We got the email August 28th, so we've had a long time to think about it. It's up to, if it's the General Assembly, it's fine with me if we postpone it, but we've had a lot of time to think about it.
Okay, we'll talk about it when we get to action then. Anyone else have any further questions or anything regarding it? Let's just wait, we'll bring it up at a question when we get to action there, Ms. Bagshaw, please. You okay with that? All right, Dr. Thornton.
Okay, next is the playground equipment. Mr. Edwards brought this up last month. Was it last month? Yes, and we checked with our attorney, and we did find out that we could release the playground equipment to the town of Boynton, and I believe that's an action item later in the board meeting. And you all received the email and the code, and that you could do that. And they would have to physically move it. And I've talked to Mayor Wren about it. He wants the equipment, so that's a good thing. And if you're able to pass it later, we'll be able to move this playground equipment over to Boynton, and they can use it in the town of Boynton. Any questions?
Not moving it.
No, we can't move it. They would have to move it. Okay, and we added E. We added an addendum to the meeting, E, weighted honor classes at the high school. And I will say we were contacted by a parent who's here, Ms. Garnett. She was concerned about her son, but also the other students. And this issue came forward about whether we weight our honor classes at the high school. And Ms. Somerville is going to share some information with us.
Good evening. As Dr. Thornton stated, we did have a parent who brought a very important and urgent concern to our attention based on how we calculate our quality points for honors classes, normally on the 4.0 scale. And you see in front of you, I gave you page 38 of our program of studies. You note there, I did highlight that traditionally it has been governor school courses and associate's degree courses are weighted on a 5.0 scale. This practice has been in place as long as I've been here, and I believe through my research it's always been the practice. After researching other schools in Region 8, we became aware that our practice is very different from the other schools in Region 8, where their honors courses are weighted on a 5.0 quality scale, similar to dual enrollment courses. So I wanted to come before you tonight and just express the urgency of this, that if you all choose for us to go this direction, we would need to look at voting on this, of course, next month, so that we can get transcripts revised to reflect this for students, especially for those applying for early admission for college this year. I want to give you the pros and the cons. Understand that it will improve GPAs, may improve GPAs of any student who's taken honors courses. In addition, it may improve our students' chances at receiving scholarships, especially regional scholarships where they compete and remain competitive for college admissions. Alternatively, we did examine that it may have some impact on class ranking or order of some students for this year's graduation class. However, we looked at students as a whole and looking at this, and we do feel like making this change will improve the GPAs and help more students as a whole, as opposed to those few that may be impacted the other direction.
Any questions?
Is there any negatives to this?
I'll answer that one.
Okay.
There's no negative as far as it's going to help all students who took honors classes, and it was supposed to be a more rigorous curriculum for them, and they should be rewarded for making that effort to take the honors classes. However, as Ms. Somerville stated about class rank, it is going to benefit most of them equally, although it doesn't guarantee that. You may have a student drop from 7 to 8, and the 8th place student went to 7th place, which is not a big deal. Where it could become a very big deal, it may take the number 1 person to number 2, and the number 2 person to number 1. And that is the only negative that I see in it. So as you think about it for the next month, you're thinking about it, you're competing, all of our kids are competing for scholarships and entry into college, and then you're talking about who's going to finish first or second in the graduating class. So what's the bigger picture? Who might stand in front of you screaming at you in a month? Because it doesn't clearly spell it out in this. One way a lot of systems do this is they wait, and they do it for the incoming 9th graders of next year, which means your current 12th, 11th, and 10th graders and current 9th graders will not benefit from taking honors classes as their peers will around the state and in our region. It's the only negative I see. Is there any other negative that you know?
No, sir, that was the only negative that we saw.
I think if we go back a few years, you'll find that we did have weighted grades. Why did we change?
I will say as long as I've been in this division, we haven't. And I checked back with a few former guidance counselors, and they said that they only recall that they didn't have it. So I can only go back as far as they knew and as far as I've been here.
Longer than all the guidance counselors, I guess. We did have it at one time, and what happened?
I didn't hear you.
I said, I've been here longer than the guidance counselors.
Yes, sir.
So what happened is I think the question came up that it wasn't fair because some were taking governor school grades and dual enrollment, and they were arguing the fact that other people were just taking weighted, just getting weighted grades, and they were getting the same benefits. So I remember the argument, but I don't remember what the result was, because it's been about 6, 7, 8 years ago. But anyway, we need to study it, sure.
What would be the recommendation? Not yet. We'll have a recommendation next meeting? Or just implement it immediately or later? Or you're
The next meeting.
But your recommendation is to implement the change immediately?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am. That's my recommendation.
Well, again, the impact is every student who took an honors class will benefit on the transcript and on trying to get scholarships and trying to get admitted to college, versus someone may be higher than the other person in the class. That's what you're debating, and we want input from our students, parents. We want people to weigh in on it. So
I think all the parents that have children that will be affected either way should come forward and say something. You know, the ones that are not taking it and the ones that are taking it. I mean, somebody needs to be an argument about why it's good and why it's bad, and let's get it done.
I'd suggest, Ms. Somerville, you get with the high school principals, and at this point, probably call a meeting with senior parents about this issue, those that want to come, and talk about the issue and lay it out.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And I'm done. Thank you.
You're done? All right, hold on just a second, ma'am. I got a little disclaimer here we need to read real quick. At this time, public matters may be publicly brought to the attention of the board and administration. Public comments at board meetings are just one of many avenues for communication, and the board recognizes and appreciates the importance of input from and communication with the public we represent. The public is invited to sign up to speak prior to the beginning of the meeting. The clerk of the school board will write down your name, address, and a topic that you wish to speak about. The public is allowed 6 minutes in most meetings to express their views. Please respect that time limitation. It will be enforced. Please understand that it would not be possible to immediately respond to questions. As a reminder, it is inappropriate at a public meeting to make personal attacks, to be defamatory, or to disparage individuals or identifiable groups. Again, we welcome and appreciate your input. Prior to beginning your comment, please state your name to the school board.
Hi, I'm Karen Garnett. I have a son who is a senior at Bluestone High School, and he's in dual enrollment. He's taken all of his honors classes, and he's also in the governor's school and doing the associate's degree. And he has worked, of course, very hard. All along, we're assuming that all of these honors courses that he has taken is getting a better weight than a regular general course. Because if not, why would anybody bother with the honors course? So he's working very hard, and then I come to find out as we're applying for colleges that none of these classes are weighted, none of them. And it was pretty disheartening when you see somebody work so hard for something and it not be any different than as if they would have taken a general math class as opposed to his Algebra 2 class or his calculus. And that is one of the arguments that I would come up with as far as fairness. I don't think class ranking, would be fair, because if you had someone that took nothing but general classes and got straight A's, and Ethan took all his honors classes and got straight A's, I think that he worked a lot harder with a lot harder classes, that it should have a higher ranking and a higher weight. Not that that's our main, concern, but, class ranking is something they ask you on your college application, and it's going to be, a big part of everything that he's got to do from here on out to get into a college. I think that we're not being compared apples to apples as far as the other schools in our district. I personally called all the other schools to see how they handled their honors classes, and they all weight their honors classes, considering the fact that they are harder classes and more rigorous. And, our students that do take honors classes have to miss out on a lot of other things. They can't, a lot of times, do academics do athletics and do other things because they're busy with their academics and trying to get the grades that it takes to, complete these honors courses. So I just wanted you all to consider, their side of it, and that it affects a lot of different things as far as we have enough competition getting into colleges, with other students, but being compared equally to the students, at least in your district, would be, I would think, the best way to go. I couldn't understand that they wouldn't be weighted, because why would anybody take them if you're not getting a heavier weight or more credit for doing it? I just hope that you all will take this into consideration soon, due to the fact that, in January, a lot of the college applications, that's when people really start sending them out. We've already sent out the early decision application, and Ethan's transcripts were incorrect the first time I went to look at them, and that's how I found out, what classes were weighted, what classes were not, and I was surprised at which ones were and which ones were not. I think we've got a lot of things on the transcripts that were wrong resolved. Part of it, they didn't have all of the classes listed that he had taken, because some of them were in middle school, and I think that's only going to be due to this senior class, because they had the IB pilot program in the 6th grade, and that kind of threw off the whole, what normally was on the transcript. So that is different for this one particular senior class, but, as well, even without those classes on there, the number of credits as opposed to the number of classes were incorrect. I think we've got all those issues worked out, but this honors issue is very surprising to a lot of people that I've spoken to. I haven't spoken to many parents on the issue. I was hoping to go through the guidance counselor, then the principal, and then Dr. Thornton, and then you all, to try and do it in a right way, to not cause a lot of havoc. I just would like to see it resolved, hopefully quickly, that the students will have the right transcripts when it's time to send out more college applications. And it does, have a big impact on all of it, as far as getting into college and, trying to at least be competitive with other schools in our area. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else, Ms. Shuttleworth? All righty, thank you, ma'am. We're going to move on to our action part of our agenda here. Have a motion, the school board approves the minutes of the regular school board meeting held on October 21st, 2013.
So moved.
You have a motion, you have a second? All those in favor? One abstain, Ms. Shuttleworth. Move on to payment of the bills. We have a motion, school board approves the payment of the bills. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Or is there any discussion, Ms. Wagstaff? I know you looked over them.
Over $217,000, thank you. And found out that's for netbooks through the VSPA technology grant. And on page 2 of operations and maintenance, there was still an electricity bill for Buckhorn, but that was from, I believe, September 7th to October 7th. So that should be the last one. And that was all the questions I had, but everything else seemed to be pretty.
Anybody else have any
Yep.
questions?
We have a couple of checks. Number 47823, 47904. One's for airplane tickets for $1,065, and the next one is to the National School Board for $2,175.
You in administration?
Yes, ma'am.
I believe those are the school board upcoming conferences.
I'd just like to know who's going.
I am.
Okay. I just want to know how that's decided. Does the chairman pick who's going?
Yes, sir, we talked about it, discussed it, whatever.
Y'all must have done it in closed session. I missed
Nope,
that.
didn't do it in closed session.
I missed that. how about the room charges? Do we know how much they are yet, or we pay those when we go?
They will be booked ahead of time. I don't think we've actually paid the bill on those. I'm not sure that we have even done a purchase order.
Okay, oh, that's all right. I need to add one other question, like on operations and maintenance, check number 47953. When somebody checks the payment of the bills, that was to VAMAC for $1,276, but there's no explanation of what that was for. I just don't know how we check bills and we don't know what we're buying. It was for S379205.001. Is that a purchase order number or something?
No, sir, that would be their reference number.
Is it, the reason I'm getting this, is there any way when we get our payment of the bills that we could have a better explanation than just that number?
Yes, sir. I have brought that to Angela Bacon's attention. We do have a new assistant clerk, and the descriptions are not as accurate as we would like them to be, and we did notice that and have spoken to her. So hopefully with the next package, you will see the typical descriptions that you're used to seeing.
Right. And one more, we don't have any Honda automobiles, but we paid Boyd Honda a check this month. Are we having inspections done by like Boyd Honda and outside sources since we don't have anybody to inspect our buses anymore?
Yes, sir, we did.
Okay. Are we looking to hire somebody? I mean, I hadn't seen anything advertised for inspection and somebody to inspect our buses.
My understanding is the gentleman that had been approved is no longer coming, so I think we're back in that same, we are again looking.
Okay.
But I don't get too involved in personnel issues.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions? All right, all those in favor? All opposed? One opposed, Ms. Shuttleworth? We're going to move on to C, personnel. Have a motion, school board approves the personnel recommendations.
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second? All those in favor? None opposed, Ms. Shuttleworth? Move on to student matter SD 2013-2014-02.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, the school board approves the discipline committee's recommendation with an additional stipulation. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? None opposed, Ms. Shuttleworth? Move on to item E, Bluestone High School overnight field trip to Myrtle Beach for robotics. Have a motion, the school board approves the Bluestone High School overnight field trip to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, February 26th through March 1st, 2014 for the robotics competition.
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? None opposed, Ms. Shuttleworth? Item F, Bluestone High School overnight field trip to Raleigh, North Carolina for robotics. Have a motion, the school board approves the Bluestone High School overnight field trip to Raleigh, North Carolina, March 13th through the 15th, 2014 for the robotics competition.
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? None opposed, Ms. Shuttleworth? Move on to item G, suspend policy waiver for playground equipment. Have a motion that the school board approves to suspend policy 1-5.4, which allows a vote to take place on the same night as information is held in order to vote on giving the playground equipment located on the school board office property to the town of Boydton.
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Discussion.
Yes, sir.
Even though the playground equipment was my idea, suspending school board policy is not, so I vote against suspending school board policy. Go ahead.
All those in favor? Or any further discussion on suspending policy first? Okay, guess not. All those in favor? All opposed? One opposed, Ms. Shuttleworth? We're gonna move on to subject H, playground equipment.
Have a motion that pursuant to the authority granted by the statute 22.1-129 of Virginia Code, the need for the playground equipment in the town of Borden and the fact that it is not being used by the school board, that the school board approves giving the playground equipment located on property at the school board office to the town of Borden. We have a motion. Do we have a second? All those in favor? All opposed?
Abstain. Thank you for your vote.
We have one abstain, Ms. Shuttleworth. We're gonna move on to subject I, VRS retirement plan, Virginia Local Disability Program. Have a motion the school board approves to sign the resolution to opt out of the VRS VLDP and contract the standard to provide a comparable plan. We have a motion. Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Hear none? All those in favor? All opposed?
Abstain.
One abstain, Ms. Shuttleworth. Move on to item J, suspend policy waiver resolution to support change to SOLs. Have a motion, the school board approves to suspend policy 1-5.4, which allows a vote to take place on the same night as information is held in order to vote on signing a resolution to support change to the SOLs. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it if it, but if it, just as long as it gets to the General Assembly in time. I don't care whether we vote about it tonight or not.
Okay, we're voting on suspend policy right
Okay.
right now.
All right.
Yeah. Let's get through that. Let's get through that. Yeah, then we can discuss. Anybody, we have a second on motion to suspend policy. Any discussion on suspending policy? It's not. All those in favor? All opposed? Two opposed, Ms. Shuttleworth. A motion, the school board approves signing the resolution to support change to the SOLs. We have a motion. Do we have a second? All righty, now we can have a discussion. Any discussion?
I know previous Mr. Edwards want us to postpone the decision until Sturman is here. But if I'm not here and business needs to be done, we need to go ahead and take care. I don't want y'all to hold off business while I'm not here. And I sent out an email about this back in August to give everybody a chance to read about it. Our teachers have to, their evaluation is built on 40% of pass rate in our school system. And this might relieve some of the pressure on the teachers if we get that SOL change.
One thing I have to say is that we only did it through email. It was not brought before the public, so I feel like the public should have a chance to go through it before we sit here and vote on it.
Our other board member had the audacity to call the superintendent and ask, was this important that we vote on it tonight? And I think he was probably told that we didn't have to vote on it tonight, that we didn't have to do it before the first of the year. Out of respect for our fellow board member, I would ask that we just wait and vote on it next month, and then that'll give time for some of these people to come forward. If you have anything to say, you need to let a school board member know by telephone or email or something. But I just think Mr. Sturman's an important part of this school board, since he'll probably be here a lot longer than some of us.
Can I do it?
Yes, sir.
It is not, I did tell Mr. Sturman that, it is not essential that the vote happens this evening. It is an issue, though, that help people, it's really should not be turned into, it's not an issue of we're going to have SRLs or we're not. We're going to have standards. We're going to have tests. The resolution says we'd like to be tested the way we're tested and some alternative measures. Not that we want to do away with testing. No one's trying to say lower standards. They're just saying kids learn in different ways. They can be tested in different ways. We assess kids, our teachers assess kids in multiple ways throughout the year. And then what we're saying is at the end of all that, the state assesses a multiple choice test and holds all kids, whether they learned or not, on that multiple choice test. And what we're saying as educators is that's wrong. There's all kinds of ways to measure a student's progress and success. That's bottom line what the resolution is saying. Use different ways. But again, it doesn't, I know there's 40-some schools that have passed it at this point. They're basically adding up as they have meetings. So.
I'm just gonna make one more point, then I'm through with it. So the next time that I'm not here, then I can call and say that I want you to hold up a vote until I come back.
Well, I guess that would depend on whether anybody respected it or not. I don't know. I'm just saying the man called, give him a break.
I'm calling for a question. Any further questions? We have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor? All opposed? Two opposed, Ms. Shuttleworth. We're gonna move on to item L. Another action we have a motion that the school board allows all school board members that have been named in a petition for removal from office and all future members that may be named in a petition to be removed from office to be represented by the school board attorney in all cases involving the removal of a school board member from office. We have a motion. We have a motion. We have a second. We have a motion and a second. I'm sure there's some discussion. Let's go.
I have something to say. I think this is a bad precedent to set. If we have to be represented, I think we should get our own lawyers, and I may have to have one tomorrow, but still, I just do not feel that our school lawyers should represent individuals.
I'll go next. 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago, 5 members of this school board didn't renew a superintendent's contract. These 5 members came before the school board and asked, and some of these members present were on that school board, and asked them if we could have representation by the school board attorney. The school board attorney had said that he would represent us. This school board voted not to do that. Now we have almost a similar situation, and we're going to turn around and vote to do that. We just got through about 10 minutes ago talking about $5 million worth of deficits, money that we don't have, and we have no idea how many people this could happen to in the next year or 2 years. If it costs $25,000 to $50,000 per person to defend this, do we have that in our budget? If not, then we're breaking the law as we've said here tonight, because if we don't have that much legal money available to us, then how do we vote to have legal representation for 9 members on the school board? I'd like for you to call Mr. King before we vote and get an answer to that, because we are obligating this school board to an uncertain amount of dollars. And I've been in court for 5 years, and I'm not finished yet. So I just want to let you know that we're stepping out there.
Any further discussion? You don't have anything else? Yes, ma'am.
He says we're not obligating ourselves to anything, right? In other words, if it costs us $250,000 tomorrow, is that money in the budget? Let's certainly. It would have to be in administration under legal for us to do that.
Is there $250,000? No.
Is there enough to pay legal fees for all 9 school board members if this happens tomorrow to all of us?
I would say no.
Drive on.
We're getting ready to drive. Is there any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? All opposed? 2 opposed, Ms. Shuttleworth. Anything else on action? Have I missed anything? Guess not. We're gonna move on to our board member remarks. Ms. Garner, we'll start with you this evening.
Oh, I have nothing to say.
You don't? Oh, goodness, okay. Ms. Wagstaff?
Well, it's hard to express my excitement about our school system's movement forward. I certainly want our board to continue focusing on improving the outcomes for all our students and keep working to get things done that will benefit our students. It's difficult. Thank you, Dr. Thornton, for sharing our budget woes. I think it's easier to see now why we have such difficult decisions to make. It's hard for people to look at the big picture when they're focused on their small concerns, but our job as a board is to look at the big picture and focus on all students' achievement. I guess I want to say this Thanksgiving season, I am extremely thankful for our teachers and principals that are committed to helping our students attain these 21st century skills. To see y'all's excitement tonight makes it all worthwhile. Everything we're trying to do. I'm very thankful for our teachers and that they're committed to creating innovative learners. Thank you all.
I was thrilled to learn about our elementary school students who published the exciting book, so I'm hoping I'll be able to find it tonight on Amazon.com.
I don't know if the public thinks I'm always negative. I'm not always negative. I believe in education of the children. I believe in better facilities, and I see the numbers on this board every year that we're 3, 4, 5 million past due. Small things bother me. Big numbers bother me. Small numbers bother me. For a school board to sit and beg, well, not beg for money, but ask what we're due from the Board of Supervisors and the citizens of this county, and then turn around and fly to New Orleans to a meeting that really doesn't enhance education in this county, I don't think that much, and that's an opinion. But I just think to spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and we do it in many categories every month or two, and I just believe that the wasteful spending has got to stop somewhere before the citizens of this county are going to step up to the pump and give us what we need, and that's how I feel. And I get input every day from not only my end of the county, but from South Hill, from La Crosse, from Boyden, and Chase City. And anytime somebody doesn't feel the way I feel, I want them to call me. My phone number is in the book, and I think I've put my cell phone number in the paper a few times. I'm not afraid to talk to you. I want you to tell me right or wrong how you feel. Thank you.
First, I want to apologize for not being here last month. I had a really bad cold and I had no voice, so you wouldn't have been able to hear me anyway, which might have been a blessing. But I do have the report from the Joint Education Committee meeting, and I'll make that report now since it wasn't a place on the agenda for that. The Joint Education Committee meeting met September 24th, 2013 at 4:30 p.m. in the school board conference room. Sandra Tanner called the meeting to order, and with those present were Sandra Tanner, committee chair, Mecklenburg County Public Schools, Ms. Claudia Lundy, committee chair for the Board of Supervisors, Mr. Thomas Bullock, vice chair, and Mr. Glenn Edwards from the school board, Mr. Glancy Spain and Mr. David Brankley representing Board of Supervisors. Staff present were Dr. James Thornton, Ms. Sharon Shuttleworth, Ms. Donna Garner, Mr. Wade Wilson, and Mr. Wayne Carter. A motion was made by Mr. Thomas Bullock to adopt the agenda and seconded by Glancy Spain. The agenda was unanimously adopted by all committee members. I do want to let the public know, because I heard that there were comments at the Board of Supervisors meeting about the agenda being prepared in advance. I did not get any input from the Board of Supervisors prior to this, so we did put the agenda together. Upon arrival, Ms. Lundy told me that 2 of her board members had to go to another meeting, so I stated at the beginning of the meeting that to make the best of everyone's time, if we could stick to the agenda. I hope that they will give us input of things they wanted on the agenda, and that all of you will as well as we move forward. The committee members discussed the need for guidance from the Board of Supervisors on how to budget for new construction or upgrades to current facilities. Dr. Thornton presented roof system information and current warranty information for each school in the division. It was noted that portions of the high and middle school roofs are out of warranty, and that the elementary schools, which have metal roofs, are still under warranty until 2016. However, that roofing company has gone out of, that holds the warranty is out of business. Dr. Thornton presented a construction's need list for all the schools to the committee, and he and his staff will bring a prioritized list back to our next meeting with cost estimates and funding sources to help pay for the upgrades, and he'll bring that back to the committee. The committee members also discussed the operations budget and the need for more teachers and space at both middle schools to bring the class sizes down to a 20-to-1 student-teacher ratio. This is not a state requirement. However, when teachers were asked what they needed to assist with the SOLs, they stated they needed smaller class sizes in order to provide a better learning environment for the students. The committee also discussed the expansion of career and technical education programs. Mecklenburg County Public Schools recognized the need to add more programs, classes, and hire more teachers in order to educate our students for future industry needs in the community. The committee discussed the costs that will be associated with the program expansion, such as hiring new teachers, the space, the transportation, or technology needs based on the program needs and where they're taught. The committee members also discussed the SOL testing technology issues that we have currently and the cost for needed upgrades. The next meeting of the Education Committee will be here on January the 9th at 4:30 p.m. And Mr. Bullock made a motion that we adjourn, seconded by Mr. Spain with unanimous vote. This completes my report. As I said, the next meeting will be January 9th. If you can get anything that you would like to have put on the agenda to me or to Sharon, probably the week before Christmas, because I feel like a lot of people will be in and out during that time. So if we can get those comments, we'd be glad to add that to the agenda. I just want to say how excited I am to hear and see the teachers come before us tonight to tell us what they've seen and how they want to move forward, and how they're actually out there breaking silos down from the workshops that they went to. And conferences and conventions, whether they're in Williamsburg or they're in New Orleans or wherever they are, is where you learn these things and you hear these speakers that you can bring back to the county to make it real to the students. I want to tell you, I've had the privilege to be able to go to Bluestone Middle's Expo, to Parkview Middle's Expo, La Crosse Elementary's Expo, and I'm going to miss Clarksville's because we're going to be at a conference in Williamsburg learning about what's going on and what we need to know so that we can move this division forward and to get you all those tools and things that you need to help you. There's been a lot that has gone over the last year. Seeing the excitement in the children at those expos, talking to the teachers and hearing their excitement at those expos, and hearing you all tonight makes it all worth it for me, for the things that have gone on over the last year. And I want you to know that I stand behind all of you. I have supported PBL from the beginning, not because I thought it was a program, but because I believed in this administration, I believed in the staff, I believe in the teachers, and I believe in our students, and I know that together all of you can do that. Thank you.
I would first like to say congratulate again November Senior of the Month, and also Macy Mills for being recognized as doing very great achievements. I look forward to joining the school board members at the Virginia School Board Association Conference this week. I'm excited to learn more about valuable information that will help me serve in capacity as a student liaison and to pass on information that's needed for the next student liaison. I'm also pleased that the school board approved for the playground to be moved in the town of Boyden for the kids to be able to play. Thank you.
I just want to say congratulations to the Dragon football team for getting as far as they did. They've had a really great year. I also wanted to share that our school held a blood drive, and we got, I think it was around 46 pints, so that was really good. And I also wanted to say I'm very excited about the conference this week. I can't wait to go and just learn more and better myself.
Thank you, ma'am. I'd like to thank everyone for their attendance tonight, their participation. Anyone has any more comments or anything? Dr. Thorne? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot all about you.
No, that's all right.
Man was a bullet.
No, mine was going to be brief. I want to say congratulations. It is Ann Dalton Day, November 18th. And I feel bad that we didn't let you have the day off. and made you stay here. That's it.
Mr. Bullock, go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
I'll be brief. I want to thank all the teachers and the principals for what they are doing. Last Friday, Dr. Thornton and I had an opportunity to escort Frank Ruff and Delegate Tommy Wright around at South Elementary School. And they went into the classroom, and he questioned some of the students, and I felt that he was really impressed with the students. You think so, Doc? And we're getting the word out about deeper learning. And in 2014, we're going to be able to say that our children are well. And I hope everybody have a nice and safe Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Did I overlook anyone else? All right. Like I said, I'd like to thank everyone for their participation tonight. Everyone have a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy your break. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.